My brothers, consider this. A man who walks alone may seem to wander, but often he is walking a higher path, one of reflection, discipline, and quiet strength. In a world obsessed with constant companionship, solitude has become a forgotten virtue. Yet the longer a man remains without a relationship, the more his soul has the chance to be forged in silence and tested by time. This is not weakness. This is not a flaw to be corrected. This is a period of power, if a man chooses to use it well. As the Stoics teach, it is not the external things that define us, but how we respond to them. And so it is with solitude. The single man is not idle. He is sharpening himself for life's greater challenges. Let us explore 5 vital truths revealed through this time alone. When a man spends extended time without a relationship, he begins to tap into a quiet but formidable force: self-reliance. In the absence of romantic companionship, he is left with only himself, and that is where his real education begins. Rather than relying on a partner for validation, comfort, or emotional regulation, he is compelled to face his inner world without distraction. This can be uncomfortable, even painful at first. But as the Stoics teach, discomfort is a forge for character. What does not depend on others becomes truly yours. In solitude, he must learn how to navigate moments of insecurity, fear, or doubt on his own. He must develop the ability to sit with his thoughts, reflect on his values, and act with purpose even when no one is watching. This nurtures a deep sense of integrity. He no longer needs applause or reassurance to stay true to what he knows is right. He becomes rooted in principle, not approval. As this self-reliance grows, so too does his resilience. Life's blows do not hit as hard when you're not dependent on another for your sense of stability. He does not fear rejection or isolation, because he has already made peace with them. He has found strength not in clinging to another, but in standing firmly on his own. This kind of man is attractive not because he seeks attention, but because he radiates calm, composure, and purpose. True self-reliance does not mean cutting oneself off from the world. It means being whole before joining with another. The longer a man walks this path, the more unshakable he becomes. And in a world filled with noise, his quiet confidence is both rare and powerful. When a man remains single for a long time, he naturally begins to sharpen his emotional intelligence. Without the emotional rhythms of a romantic partner to distract or dictate his inner world, he must become more attuned to his own emotional responses. He learns to observe rather than react, to analyze his feelings without being consumed by them. This skill, often overlooked in modern masculinity, becomes one of his greatest assets. A Stoic man understands that emotions are not enemies to be suppressed, but signals to be interpreted with reason and discipline. Time spent alone allows a man to reflect deeply on past relationships and patterns. He is able to recognize what triggered emotional outbursts, what led to breakdowns in communication, and where his own vulnerabilities lie. Instead of blaming others, he begins to hold the mirror up to himself. This self-examination leads to growth, and with growth comes mastery. He learns how to regulate his emotions not by avoidance but by understanding them. This regulation isn't about detachment. It's about strength through clarity. As he gains this emotional awareness, he becomes more compassionate, not only toward others but also toward himself. He sees the suffering in others and recognizes it without judgment, because he has done the hard work of facing his own. This gives him a unique power in relationships, friendships, and leadership. People are drawn to him because he is calm when others panic, stable when others falter, understanding when others judge. In the philosophy of Stoicism, power over the self is the only real power, and a man who has mastered his emotions, not repressed them, stands taller than one who has merely controlled the world around him. The longer he has been alone, the more he sees emotions not as burdens but as teachers. When a man spends a long period without a relationship, he naturally becomes more self-reliant and independent. This independence is not born from bitterness or rejection, but from necessity and growth. Without someone to lean on emotionally or logistically, he is forced to take full responsibility for his life. He learns how to meet his own needs, emotionally, mentally, financially, and spiritually. In doing so, he becomes whole in himself, rather than seeking completion from someone else. Stoicism teaches that a man should not depend on external conditions for inner peace. Relationships, while valuable, are impermanent. The man who has learned to live well on his own discovers the strength of being sufficient unto himself. He does not chase validation, nor does he fear solitude. His time alone becomes a crucible in which his character is forged, his weaknesses exposed and corrected, and his strengths brought forward without noise or applause. Over time, his independence radiates in his decisions, demeanor, and direction. He does not beg for time, affection, or approval. Instead, he offers his presence as a gift, not as a need. This quiet power is deeply attractive, not just to women, but to all who value self-respect and certainty. He is no longer afraid of being alone, and this lack of fear grants him immense power. People who are desperate to be in relationships often compromise their values, but the man who has been alone long enough knows the price of peace and is unwilling to trade it cheaply. He is not hardened, but he is careful. He has learned how to be happy with himself, and in doing so, he is finally ready to connect with others from a place of strength, not scarcity. That is the essence of true independence, and it can only be earned, not given. A man who has spent a long time without a relationship often gains an unwavering sense of inner peace. This peace is not rooted in isolation, but in the understanding that contentment must come from within. Through solitude, he learns to enjoy his own company, to sit with his thoughts, to master his impulses, and to no longer fear silence. He begins to detach his worth from external validation, especially from romantic attention, and instead anchors it in his values, discipline, and self-awareness. This inner peace is powerful. It radiates calm confidence and emotional stability, qualities that are rare and deeply attractive. He no longer reacts out of insecurity, nor does he chase or beg for affection. His presence is deliberate, his choice is intentional. When chaos arises, he responds rather than reacts, a true embodiment of Stoic control. He becomes a steady force in an unstable world, unbothered by petty drama, uninterested in manipulation, and unmoved by superficial games. Such peace cannot be faked. It is forged in the fire of solitude, self-discipline, and reflection, and it becomes a shield, one that protects him from falling into the traps of emotional dependency or being swayed by the fleeting whims of others. He is not cold, but composed, not detached, but disciplined. He still feels, but his feelings do not command him. Women recognize this calm strength. They may test it, but they often find themselves drawn to it, because it provides what many seek: stability, depth, and authenticity. The man who has truly found peace does not seek relationships to complete him. He invites them from a place of wholeness. And because of this, he enters them with clarity, not need. The longer he walks alone, the more powerful and grounded he becomes, until his presence speaks volumes even in silence.